Okay, you are welcome again. We are going to be looking at the number 2 strategy, and that number 2 strategy is called continuation and confirmation. Okay, that's what we're going to be studying. Let's go. What I'm trying to say with that is this: continuation and confirmation. Let's say this is the higher time frame. It may be monthly, it may be weekly. So in these scenarios, I'll be using the weekly as the higher time frame, and this is the previous high, this is the low. We know that when price come and take out the high point, like I have explained in the first strategy, we now come to the corresponding lower time frame, which is the daily time frame, from the weekly to the daily. Then we know that at this point, when price get to that particular point, we want price to give us, our reversal candlestick pattern like I've showed in the first strategy. And if we see that on the daily time frame, we can now enter this trade and anticipate that when price come back to this supply zone, it's going to sell to the lowest point here. Okay, that's on the weekly low. That's what we anticipate. But our minimum profit we are looking for is just 1:3. So if we have more than that, you can also take it. But when you get 1:3, you can also take your profit. Then how can we now apply this second strategy of continuation and confirmation? The first one is continuation. There will be a situation whereby price will give us this type of structure on the daily time frame after it has taken out the previous week high. Then it has given us this supply zone, okay, as the first confirmation. When price got to there, like it got to it here in this reversal pattern, and then it make a low and take out this low, we expect that this low that was taken out, either the first one or the second one, we want price to come back to that point. When price come back to that supply zone that will be left behind, all these things we have to confirm that the supply zone is valid. If the supply zone has a valid, set of candlesticks that will make our supply zone to be valid, we take it and also expect price to come down and continue to sell to this low point, or also is aiming for our 1:3. All right, that's it. Now for the confirmation phase, what we are looking for is majorly on the daily time frame or the 4-hour time frame, but I've been using the daily time frame majorly. Let's say on the daily time frame, price is coming down, giving us, bearish situation. That's the market is just coming down, making low, making high. Then in this previous high point, there's a valid supply zone, and then we see that price has tapped into it. When there's valid supply zone here, what do? Maybe the time we met the market is at this point. We will not see that the market is going to this supply zone, but we may not want to enter because we don't know whether if the supply zone is going to hold or not. So what we'll do here is to wait and see if when price tap into the supply zone, there is now another supply zone that will be formed. If the second supply zone give us a valid candlestick set of pattern that will give us that this is a good supply zone, this is where we are going to enter the trade, anticipate to sell to this point. This is very simple to understand. All right, then the other one is here where we are seeing that price is giving us type of formation, low, high, low. By the time price get to this previous supply zone that is valid, when price tap on it, they will now see that after price has tapped on it, it has already come down. All right, when price give us this type of structure, a low is formed here and price went and tapped into this supply zone, then give it this type of structure and come down, taking out this low. This is already a confirmed, break of a low. It has already happened. Then maybe by the time we meet the market, it's at this point we meet the market here, and we see that there's a supply zone here that is coming from an already established supply zone. This supply zone has not been tapped. So what can we do? We will expect that price will go up and tap into the supply zone, and then we cannot trade it. This is what we call confirmation type of entry, where a supply zone tap into another supply zone, making this an already established supply zone. So therefore, when price come into it again, it will give us a very high valid supply zone to trade with, and then we can trade it. And most of the time, the market is a zero sum game, meaning that somebody must win for somebody to lose, and somebody must lose for somebody to win. Just like in a football field, home and away. If the home wins, away loses. If away wins, home loses. Just like that. So why I'm saying that is there's this particular order block, or that's what we call it in SMC. There's this supply zone that's here. Most of the time, this type of supply zone will not be a valid supply zone. The candlestick formation will not be right, and then we'll now have this extreme supply zone with the right type of candlestick we're looking for. That is the one we're going to place our trade on. We'll not use this one, because people that will place their trade in this particular supply zone, price will mostly fail, and then tap into the supply zone, take all their money, and then continue to come down. That is the confirmation type of trading. That is for that. Now let's look at this other scenario where price will give all this type of scenario, and then giving all this type of formation, and then go up like this, whereby the previous high here has been taken out by this candlestick, and then this low now is taken out. This is a valid supply zone. We cannot trade it, expect price to come into that supply zone to come and take out this low point. Usually what we expect is for price to form this low and then come into a supply zone here. But if there's no valid supply zone in this place, we leave it, and then since there's no supply zone in here, there's no valid candlestick type of formation to give us a valid supply zone, what do? We now see this type of scenario play out here. We can also trade it, whereby after price has taken out this high, taken out this low, and there's a valid supply zone here, we expect price to come into that zone and continue to sell in accordance with this previous low that was taken out. This is a previous low, previous high. The low was taken out, giving us confirmation that this is a downtrend. The market is selling, and then we now have this type of formation here. This is how we're going to trade it accordingly. Now let's look at an example. So we can see over here, this was a previous weekly high, previous weekly low, and then the previous weekly low went up to take out this previous weekly high. After taking it out, we can now go to our corresponding daily time frame. You see on the daily time frame over here, price give us our confirmed type of candlestick formation, giving us that this particular zone here is our confirmed supply zone. Then by the time you look at this type of candle formation, also this 1, 2, 3, you can see that this middle candlestick take out the previous high of the number one candlestick. This is number 2, this is number 3. In between there's a gap, you can see that. And this is a continuation type of trading, whereby the price has already established a zone, then a valid candlestick tap into the zone, giving us another supply zone. Then we want to trade it. Number 2 trading. This is the first signal is here. This is number 2 signal, and this particular one is number 3 signal. And then number 3 signal will now be our confirmation type of trading, whereby this will be taken out, this will be taken out. We have this supply zone coming from another supply zone that is coming from another supply zone. So this type of trade is going to give us a very good high probability of the trade going our way. And you can see what happened here. It was a massive drop. Even after it took out this previous week low, it's still going down. So we have already established our 1 to 3 here. I want to 3 in that place, and also I want to 3 in the third supply zone. So that is how the confirmation and continuation type of strategy works. I will show more examples as we go on. Thank you.